So yes, I'm chairman of a company called BrandAlley. I don't know if I would have some customers here. Or is anyone here a customer of BrandAlley? Yeah, one or two. BrandAlley is the leading flash sales retailer in the UK. And the way our business model works is we partner with hundreds of premium and designer luxury brands and run typically 4 to 8 day sales for their product across our 5 million strong membership base in the UK. And what this delivers for our brand partners is a fantastic promotional opportunity for them to reach new customers, an opportunity for them to clear stock very quickly and stimulate incremental impulse sales, and also showcase their brands both with the product that we offer via our sales, but also what we see is that we drive a lot of traffic to our brand partners' own websites and actually drive full price sales for them alongside the offers that we deliver ourselves. So we see this very much as a partnership between us and our brands in terms of what we do. This is the kind of profile of the brands that we have as partners, the likes of Mulberry, Hugo Boss, Reiss, Radley, Coach, Belstaff, Joseph, Karen Millen, LK Bennett, Hobbs, Jaeger, Jack Wolfskin, Jack Wills, Agent Provocateur, Amanda Wakely. So a good cross-section of the UK premium high street. We shorthand our business as describing it as essentially being kind of Bicester Village online in terms of the profile of the brands that we deliver to our customers over the course of a year. And then just a little bit more about who we are. We're, in terms of our size, we deliver about 4 million unique visitors a month and across a 5 million strong active membership base. We have a typical basket of about £100, and because we are launching new sales of new brands every single day, a very intensive communicator with our member base. So emailing typically every day, sending over 80 million emails a month. And then just sort of looking a bit more in terms of who we are in terms of our customers, we have a very high profile in terms of our mobile and tablet use. I think it's saying 85% of our traffic is mobile and tablet. On this slide, I think that's always going up. It's edging towards the 90% level. And I think the other interesting thing is that something like 90% of our traffic is through iOS devices. So it skews very heavily towards Apple. A female-oriented base, a very actively engaged base, and a high retention rate. So we're we're very proud of where we are in terms of that profile, and a very upscale customer who is attracted by the value proposition for really high quality product at really good prices. So customer centricity. What does customer centricity mean? What are we trying to achieve when we say we want to be customer centric? I've got this little guy here who's looking rather overwhelmed by arrows attacking him from every direction, and reflecting all of the things that we need to do to put the customer at the heart of delivering an effective experience. But from that customer's point of view, what the customer's looking for is not this great tool set. They're looking for a simple and clean experience where they can find what they want easily, where they can purchase this easily, and where all the things that happen from the point at which they do purchase it occur really seamlessly. So turning that range of tools into something that works well for the customer is a challenge that we all face and that we work hard on at BrandAlley to deliver. So that's really what we're looking to do, to find every single aspect of every little piece in the journey that will get you the best possible customer experience from start to finish. So where do we start if we want to deliver an excellent customer experience? What are the most important things that we can do as a business to achieve that? And I think I would start by talking about the company's culture, which might not sound like the most obvious place to start, but I think it's absolutely critical. It's the hardest thing in many ways to talk about in a business because it's often hard to define. I used to work for very big organizations, some of whom used to kind of carve into stone what their company values were in their entrance lobbies as a sort of tool to try to create a culture by telling people what their culture was. And I thought that was totally ineffective. It doesn't work like that. That culture sort of works from the bottom up and is an organic thing that it's very hard to define and hard to explain how you create it. I think that the analogy I often use is it's a bit like how do you bring up your children? You can go on courses for how you bring your children up, but really it's an organic learning experience, and the same thing applies with a company culture. And there are things that you find rather like with your children that your company culture starts to develop that you haven't necessarily expected and that are happening not because you've determined that it's going to be that way, but because it flows out of the people whom you recruit and their way of doing things collectively as a group. So I think it works. It's really important to get it right from the top, but it's also really important to empower people all the way through the organization so that your culture reflects your values. And from that, you'll find that starts to permeate through everything about your organization and to impact your customers. Richard Branson, if you look after your staff, they look after your customers, I think is absolutely a key message here. So I start with this, which is sort of away from what are you doing to work with your customers to really deliver the detail around the value, but start with where your company is in culture-wise. And one of the key ways in which culture works is via vision and being really clear as to what you stand for within your staff team and for your customer. And we have a very clear and simple vision as a business ourselves. It's to deliver the best quality products at the best prices and to do so by the dates promised. And I'll come back to the particular challenges we have in our model around that and how we work with our customers for that. And then I think it's about making sure that everybody within your whole team lives and breathes those values and vision to deliver it. From there, I think we've got the things that drive how we then are working within the marketplace is very much about kind of understanding the market itself, understanding the behavior of customers, and using the data that we have around our customers to respond to their needs. And I'll come back to this in more detail because one of the things that we have as a retailer, which is a real privilege, is a huge wealth of data about our customers because we offer such a wide product offer, and so there's a huge amount we can do with that to help customers find what they may be looking for. So, innovation. Understanding what matters most to your customers is often about understanding the basic things, and it's not necessarily about doing something which sounds totally radical or completely earth-changing, but which can still have a huge impact on customer satisfaction and experience. And that it's not necessarily expensive either. It starts with providing products that live up to expectations. So delivering high-quality products where the descriptions of the products match what you receive. And this is actually the most important thing in terms of the research that we've done from a customer point of view, is finding that what they intended to buy turns out to be what they expected. So this is really basic stuff. For us, it comes partly from working with high-quality brand partners where the underlying quality of the products is going to be reliable. But we sell a huge range of products, so maintaining that quality threshold is critical, and ensuring that the product descriptions accurately reflect what you have for sale, absolutely critical. Ooh, a nice blank screen. Delivery. This is a really interesting one for us. We know that most customers, that it's a platitude of e-commerce that getting your product as quickly as possible to customers is a key driver for customer experience. 60% of customers expect to have next day delivery as an option. 55% expect click and collect as standard. But what we found is that we have a business model that makes next day delivery challenging for quite a lot of our products, and I'll explain why. The way that we operate with our brands is that they reserve stock for us, so they'll reserve 20,000 units of stock. We'll run a sale, and then we'll put in a purchase order. At the end of the sale, a week later, they will then deliver to us, and we will then deliver to the customer. That might sound like a very antiquated way of doing business in the instant delivery age, but it works for our brand partners because we're typically dealing with stock that's held at a wholesale level that is easier to ship to us as a single order than to fulfill all of those orders by passing them directly through to the brand partner. So what we are able to do is to place a single order for the maximum amount of stock and give the best possible price both to our brands and to our customers. And we'll also take care of returns and sell those through our site. So it makes it very easy for the brand. And what the customer gets is a great price, but a slightly delayed delivery. So what's then been critical for us has been to communicate to our customers what the delivery date is. And I think this sort of came out of, for me personally, shopping on Amazon, finding that, that whilst you've got Prime for so many products, you often will find much better deals if you're prepared to wait and the product's coming directly from China. You might pay a tiny fraction of the price for a next day delivery. And what matters to you is that you know how long it's going to take to you at the start of that journey. So this is just a kind of a screenshot of our homepage, and you can see that on the opening page of the sale, on the homepage, we have a little delivery van and the dates on which we're going to deliver. And then at every single other page, all the way through your journey, on the category pages, on the product pages, on the basket pages, and on the checkout page, you will see when each product will be delivered according to the logistics of that particular brand, its track record in terms of how quickly it delivers to us, and therefore what date we can promise to the customer. there's quite a mix in our product. We actually do deliver more product express delivery to our customers direct from our warehouse than via this method overall, and that's partly down to the way the returns are then sold again in subsequent sales, often with a top up against the original order, so that we can run a second sale on immediate delivery. But the key point is that what we focused on is excellence in communication, so that the customer's not disappointed by arriving at checkout and finding that what they thought they would be able to buy immediately is actually going to take them a couple of weeks. And then from that point onwards, staying in regular communication with the customer around that journey so that they have regular updates and they don't feel forgotten about. And I think so that's has been important for us. And I think this little stat here is showing how good delivery options, a good delivery experience is the next most critical thing after understanding clearly what the product is. I'm now going to move on to talk about what we can do in terms of customer experience via rich data. And there's this huge empowerment that has taken place in e-commerce to facilitate that. And I suppose this starts for us with the fact that because we are a members site where in order to access our product, you need to sign up as a member of BrandAlley, we start to track everything that you do on our site from the moment that you touch it. So we see all of your browsing behavior as well as your purchasing behavior and your basket behavior. And that gives us hugely rich data around what kinds of products interest you against a very wide product offer across fashion, beauty, homeware, and lifestyle brands. And so what we're able to do with that is to really mine that content to put the most relevant content in front of our customers, starting off with that unified customer profile that enables us to predict for the individual what we believe is going to be the most relevant content. And then to run this in a virtuous circle where as we deliver personalized content for the individual, monitor their responses, analyze them, and then process that again in order to refine and improve on where we were. And what we see in terms of the impact of this is through predictive intelligence and our dynamic content. And this is delivered via personalized recommendations in our emails alongside our broader campaigns, recommendations on the site, segmentation of our customer base so that we're emailing the relevant campaigns to the most relevant customers. We find that we deliver a very significant increase in revenue and engagement from our customers. Essentially, they're able to find more of what they're looking for through our campaigns. Alongside that, a more specific way in which we engage with our customers is through our send time optimization on our email communication principally. And this is really not about our broadcast campaigns. It's around our individual customer communication in our CRM functions and in one-to-one communications via our automated programs. That we send our emails based on our understanding of when our individual customers engage with us most effectively and when they're most likely to want to receive an email. And we see that delivers a significant increase in terms of our open rate, about 11%. So, in terms of the overall picture, what we're saying is that every interaction that a customer has with a brand has an impact on the way they view that brand, and every interaction matters. And we're taking that all the way through the experience, from the UX navigation of the site, how easy it is to place orders, the post-sale communication, the delivery communication, the delivery experience. The returns process is absolutely critical, getting your money back into your customer's account as quickly as you possibly can. And then I think one of the things that really matters to us is the opportunities that arise when things go wrong. I think we really believe that this is a particularly valuable opportunity for building a relationship with a customer. Because e-commerce in some ways has so little communication. In some ways you could say that the less communication that's required to be activated by the customer, the better. Because if the experience is really smooth, you've delivered everything they need and communicated everything that they want along that journey without them needing to do anything. But things go wrong, and when things do go wrong, that is, I think, one of the best opportunities we have to show our customers that we really care about them. And that's really about excellence in a customer service team, and really just building that in the values of the company. One of the things that we do is that I write personally to each customer whom I've let down beyond a certain threshold. If there's been something that we've sorted out very quickly, we will leave it. But I write letters that I have the customer service team prepare for me, but which I will send to every single customer to apologise when things go wrong. And I've had phenomenal responses from that, in terms of people writing back to me to thank me for writing to them, posting on Facebook and Twitter. So saying sorry well is something that we really care about. And I think this sort of translates into this sort of very obvious point that when things do go wrong, that news is amplified across social media, across all the other channels, much more strongly than when things go well. I think here I'm saying 9 people here of happy customers against 22 people here of unhappy customers. I think it's probably an even bigger echo chamber for the unhappy customer. So really important to turn those customers around and do everything we can to rebuild trust. And we're very proud of where we've got to in terms of that trust as a business. We've got a 9.7 out of 10 trust score on Trustpilot, and that has come through a lot of hard work across all these areas. And I think it's an area I'm particularly proud of, given that we have a significant quantity of our product that is delayed in terms of delivery, that we are still able to really meet and exceed our customer expectations. So, summary. I wanted to sum up with a little insight I had from a guy who's built a brand called Tenzing, which is a new energy drink that he worked at Red Bull for a long time. And he was talking about customer experiences and what matters. He referred to this book, a book by a philosopher in the 1950s, a guy called Erich Fromm, writing about the art of loving. So, and I think that what he was saying there was as relevant then as it is today. That our contemporary culture looks at love as something that we just fall into, and it's an experience that happens to us. And what this book is about is talking about what love really is about hard work and commitment and service to others. And that as businesses, the insight that he was bringing, which I really valued, was that we can look at our customers as our targets, as people who are desperately trying to get to buy more of our stuff. We're targeting them to love them, or to get them to love us, rather than focusing on loving them and serving them well. Because if we do that, the love will follow. That love is something that's given freely when you offer a valuable service. So I suppose that ties us back into where I started in terms of culture. That really sort of focusing on a culture that is focused on serving your customer is what it's all about. Now, that's me done. How am I doing time-wise, Chloe?
You're doing good for time. We're doing very good for time. We've got plenty of time for questions. I wonder if
Okay,
you just a bottle of water there.
Thanks.
Well, Bruce, I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and I'm hoping we've got some questions from the audience. Anyone have any questions for Bruce on customer centricity? We've got an eager chap down here on the front row. Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for a great presentation. And so you talked about customer centricity, and which obviously you can do in a closed environment very well. Do you also consider customer centricity when you look into your marketing and your advertising to acquire new customers, and as in not just how you target them, but how you maybe use your existing customers to help you convince those new members? Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually it's an area of increased focus for us. There's a great chart which shows that the customer referral from another customer is by far the most effective marketing tool, and we're seeing our referral programs delivering much more effectively than they have done in the past, and that's been about the convenience of the tools that we've implemented to make that experience easy. It's also just basic stuff like knowing where to put those messages in. That the order placement page, when a customer's just completed an order, is often the most effective place to drive those referrals. But yes, it is the best kind of marketing, really important and really valuable. I think in terms of you're just taking the wider question around the opportunities that our data provides, yes, it is enormous, because we get very good, because our product offer is changing all the time on the site. It's a really interesting business to do the customer acquisition for, because the profile of the customer we're targeting will change day by day in line with the changing brand offer. And particularly Facebook and Instagram are brilliantly set up to enable us to tailor day by day our marketing campaigns to reach the most relevant audience for the product that we have on sale on the site on that day.
Excellent. Do we have another question from the audience? If you put your hand up, again down here at the front. Oh, two mics approaching that.
The number of 80 million emails is very impressive, and when you mentioned that they were kind of daily or possibly daily, that's also very impressive, and we found it quite difficult to engage people with emails. So I was just wondering whether you give people the choice at a granular level around content and frequency for those emails, or whether you use your personalization algorithm to adjust the frequency according to open rates or something like that.
That's a very good question. I think a lot of our brand partners say to us how they envy our ability to communicate with our member base as frequently as we can, because they can't, Ted Baker can't keep on sending out Ted Baker emails to its engaged audience every day of the week, because we've got a different product offer every day of the week. There is fresh, interesting content that enables us to email much more frequently than others. I was talking to family members the other day, a couple of family members who are customers, and they were saying to me, yeah, I love BrandAlley. I just, but you do send me a lot of emails. And then I said, yes, I'm always thinking about this and working out how can we reduce the frequency of emails for those who might prefer to have them less frequently. And then in the same conversation, they turned around and said, yeah, but if you didn't email me so often, I wouldn't buy as much because I wouldn't know what was on the site. So it's a hard one to know, and I don't think the individual will necessarily know how frequently they want to be communicated with if you ask them the question. So we don't ask them the question. We do it by monitoring engagement, and we email less frequently with customers who are less engaged, and we try to deliver the cut-through with the emails that, based on their browsing and purchasing history, we know will be most relevant to them.
We got another. Oh, we've got lots of questions. We'll come to this gentleman here first, and then we'll come over to you next.
Right. So just building from what you were saying, with regards to the email frequency and the content going on, is there a rule of thumb that you follow in terms of how much of the emails are a hard sell, where you're definitely promoting a product or offering a sales, as compared to an email which might just be more about a generalized trend or a news item or anything that the customer might engage with better? So I was trying to gauge if there's any sort of metric in place for how many times out of, for example, 10 emails would it be a hard sell as compared to just a generalized email?
Difficult. I'm not sure that our emails are necessarily a hard sell. It's an advert of what the content offer is that day. So we send out an email first thing in the morning that will list all of the new brands that are on sale for the first time launching that day. And then we quite often have we send to a large base a PM email that will focus on a particular brand that may have been on sale for 2 or 3 days, where we will provide more editorial content, we will provide really attractive brand imagery, and give that customer more of an opportunity to engage with that brand. And our brand partners love that content and the impact that it has, and we see great results in terms of the customer receptivity to that content. And we're targeting those emails in a much more defined way. So the morning email is a broadcast to the entire base, because it's hard to predict whether the person who loves Anglepoise knives is actually going to buy a Mulberry handbag. But in the afternoon, we're using more data in terms of the positioning of those, together with this personalized content that's giving individual recommendations based on their recent browsing and purchasing history.
And next was this gentleman down here. Yes, no, yes, yes.
You mentioned there's you mentioned there's a lot of data from people who are visiting your site, but what happens when you have lapsed or lost customers? What tactics do you use to re-engage those individuals?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think incredibly important question. We have a fantastic customer retention rate. I think there's always scope for improvement, but I think retaining 70% of our customers as we grow our base is we're pleased with the direction of travel. And you're totally right that reactivating a dormant or inactive customer is a much better approach, or in terms of marketing effort, than bringing somebody fresh in through the door. So we have clear life cycle campaigns based on the activity of our customer base, with the obvious way to attract a dormant customer back is with an additional promotion as a tool to encourage them to engage again, and that's all based on our algorithms of when we're saying a customer's inactivity on the site is an indicator that they're likely not to be engaging again, and we need to work to reactivate.
Sorry, we had a question from the gentleman at the back there, and then we can come back here.
Hiya. Do you guys try to coordinate any of your email activity with the brand, so just to reduce the risk of potentially sending out a campaign with products that the brand may actually be sending out a campaign of similar products, for example?
I'd say that the way that we work with our brand partners is that we try to avoid confusion at all costs. So I quite often we don't use it as a strapline, but I think that the John Lewis never knowingly undersold approach to life is one that we embrace very carefully. It's really important for us to build trust with our customers that if they shop with us, that they will have got the best possible price for that product in the market at that time. Now, you can't in any world guarantee that that's always going to be the best possible price ever at any point in the future, but it's really important to us that it is at the time. So because we're working directly with our brands and planning each campaign with them, we will typically not run a sale when they're on sale themselves, because that can create confusion for the customer. You know, which of these offers should I be going for? We don't do that invariably. There are occasions when we'll run at the same time, but then we've got to have a clearly differentiated value proposition compared to our brand partner. And so it's very much a collaboration with them to deliver these promotions, to maximize the marketing value for them as well as for us.
Okay, we've still got time for a couple of questions. We had one just down here. Yeah.
With what you were just mentioning in terms of reactivating lapsed customers, my first question is, what do you count as customer retention? You talked about 70%. When you're saying retained customer, what does that mean?
That means that they're buying again within. We measure at 3 months and 12 months.
Okay. And secondly, I'm just wondering if you've mentioned you've had really great success with personalizing emails and having this algorithm that works this all out. When you know all this about the customer and you're looking to reactivate them, do you have any other methods of doing that apart from email? You mentioned social, but I'm just wondering what channels do you use to actually reach them? Yeah,
I think the other key one is Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Which is where the profiling enables us to engage with customers where the email may not cut through.
Okay, so if you had someone who never opens emails, you'd look to target them Facebook or Instagram.
Exactly.
Great,
yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. We have time for one more question. So we got a gentleman right there.
Given the volume of emails you're sending out per month, have you ever had any issues with mail service providers like Google and Outlook for being a spammer or anything like that? And if so, how do you get around that?
The answer is no, and that is because deliverability is absolutely a key priority for us. We use return path certification. I'm never very sure how much value that delivers, or whether it's actually just good practice that delivers a high quality inbox placement. You're totally right that looking at Gmail in particular is one where the rules often need to be different compared to other mailboxes because you're more at risk of being treated as spam if you send over a certain threshold. But what protects our deliverability ultimately is customer engagement, and we have a high level of customer engagement with our emails, so very high open rates and click-through rates.
Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you, Bruce. That was brilliant.
Thank you.